have Grant tonight, so I think he'll be our missing. You good? All right. Well, I officially call to order the City of Travelers Rest Council meeting for Thursday, June the 15th. Thank you guys for coming. We appreciate it. I'm glad we avoided the rain for a hot second. So if you will do me a favor and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And we have Councilmember Lane. If you'll please pray for council.
Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the beautiful weather that you have given us for the playground ribbon cutting, Lord, and we just pray for safety and over the equipment and the children that play on it, Lord. And we just pray for wisdom, clarity of mind, and kindness of words with our thoughts, words, and deeds as we govern Travelers Rest. In your name we pray. Amen.
And Lisa, since you mentioned it, we did have a great showing for the ribbon cutting for Adventure Park, which was really exciting, and kids, and it didn't rain, which was a great blessing, so I appreciate everyone who was able to come. First, we'll have approval for our minutes from our previous meeting on May the 18th. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Wayne McCall has a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Rick Floyd. Any further discussion or edits? All in favor? Passes. Thank you for that. And next, we'll open up for public hearing for our fiscal year 2023-2024 budget. You do not have to sign up, so if anyone is here and wants to speak about the budget, you are more than welcome just to step forward.
Ryan's coming in.
Okay, I was going to say, maybe we'll give it like a minute or something like that. And I know it's always kind of quick because we do it first thing, so maybe even if someone comes in late and they wanted to speak on it, I think we could allow that as well. Well, good evening, Brian. We were waiting on you to start this meeting. It actually is open for public hearing for the fiscal 2023-2024 budget. If you would like to say anything, you're more than welcome. Okay. Well, I will proceed since I don't think we have anyone. And again, if someone comes in late, just somebody yell at me and we'll try to make sure that they are heard. Next, we have citizens participation. We have Mrs. Lois Gates. If you want to come on up to the podium, and you'll have 5 minutes, and I'll set a timer. Well, actually, if somebody will, because I gave Annabelle my phone. And you'll have 5 minutes to address council, and you just take all the time. We might not have a conversation. You just let us know, and then there'll probably be some follow-up after the meeting.
They may want some questions, but I've tried to time myself on it. I'm not doing the whole letter yet, but I'm just pointing out certain issues that's very important to us. And of course, you know about Poinsett Common Apartments parking issues. Well, I'll tell you about it. All right. First of all, I just want to say that we believe that stress was created when Travelers Rest leaders allowed laws and building codes to be ignored and broken when building a 3-floor apartment building with 44 apartments for seniors with only 24 parking spaces. This stress has caused and is still causing health issues of high blood pressure and other illnesses in the elderly. It is upsetting to see how our leaders are treating us, and this only aggravates our situation because it's gone on for 4 years, and they've owned the solution for a year and a half, and yet nothing has been done. First of all, I want to explain and show you a little bit what's really involved with what's going on with the seniors living there. First, family and friends have stopped coming because there's nowhere for them to park. This has caused prolonged isolation and destruction physically and emotionally, and is plunging the elderly into darkness of loneliness in their time of need. Now, fear and trauma has been created because they are now alone in their need, sickness, and other challenges that's jeopardizing their well-being. They are now enduring a lifetime of suffering and find themselves fighting to survive because of others' greed and hate. Could this be described as a hate crime against the elderly because it's gone on for so long? We are becoming endangered, forgotten, and overlooked, and our hopes are failing. 2, caregivers have nowhere to park when they come to tend to the sick. Some just don't come, so the tenants are now being neglected. 3, residents are afraid to go to the grocery store or to doctor's appointments for fear of not having a place to park when they get back. 4, only 24 parking spaces for approximately 50 tenants, not counting for spaces for delivery, families, and friends. 13 are parking illegally in parking areas. We've been forced to park illegally. Our neighbors and businesses are now towing our car and our visitors' car when they park on their properties. We are told we were told to park about 1.5 miles or half a mile away, where we have to cross 2 roads, past 2 small businesses, and then pass our building where we live to get around to the back, which is where the entrance is. And we do this on walkers, wheelchairs, and trying to get your groceries, etc. in. We have found out that this parking area has been sold, and we no longer have permission to park there. So it's either the streets or the grass, which Eric says no. A city councilman told our manager that when someone moves out, do not rent the apartment until there is only 24 apartments rented, leaving 20 empty, which would solve our parking problem. Even though we've got seniors living in their cars, they have nowhere to live, they can't afford $1,500, $2,000 for 1 or 2 bedrooms. Okay, now, Section 8 has so many names on their list, it could take as much as 2 to 3 years to get help for anyone to move into another place. Some here it took them 10 years after applying before they got Section 8, any kind of help at all. All right, the elderly is enduring unspeakable suffering and hardship from their own state and their own people. 7, the last comment. The comment has been made about us being old and dying soon, so just ignore our complaints, has been overheard by some of our councilmen, our own mailman, and other leaders saying this. But this is the attitude. And we're getting from some of our leaders and workers in Travelers Rest. Attitude towards us is getting really bad. And they're pretty much holding us responsible for the fact they can't get in and out and do their business. But it's not us. I just want it understood. We are not here to criticize or to point fingers at anyone, but to team up with the city leaders to get our parking issues solved. I do not think we can do it alone, nor do I believe that you can right the wrong without us. So let's work together and solve the parking space issues at Poinsett Common Apartments. We're here to help you in any way. If you can't get in somewhere, let us know. We'll get in. If you can't get attention, let us know. We know how to get attention. This last page is a copy of Eric's emails to Dave Swindle, which they're dealing with right now. And in the middle of the page, you'll see, this is what I'm talking about.
Ms. Gates, I'm sorry, you're out of time, but
Oh.
we'll definitely read over this.
Yeah,
And-
okay,
yes,
that's
and
fine.
thank you for the handouts, and I think this is very helpful. And also, appreciate you advocating for all of the residents that live there. I think we're a little familiar on council for the situation where, the BZA approved years ago, this was supposed to be assisted living, and so we're doing our best to try to help alongside. I appreciate the Lieutenant Governor called me to talk about this as well, but appreciate Eric that's trying to, as best he can, work with a private individual about getting some solutions there. And I think maybe you could just give us an update next time you hear something on our Friday email would be great. So thank you. So thank you again, Mrs. Gates. All right. Let's see. Now we have ordinances for second reading. So just for those that are here tonight, it's budget time. And so we had our first reading for general fund budget at last council meeting. And so, Rick, I guess you're in charge of all things since Grant is out. So appreciate you. We'll do first reading for our general fund budget.
Okay. On behalf of Grant, so we are presenting a balanced budget for each of the proposed funds, and there is no tax increase, no increase in city service fees, and no transfer of cash reserve account. The first one is I make a motion to consider ordinance 0-04-23 to adopt fiscal year 2023 through 2024 general fund to include fee schedule and CPI plan or CIP plan.
Thank you. You've heard that motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Brantley Vest. Any further discussion or?
I want to say before we vote, there are no changes to our general fund budget, but we are adding a fire alarm fee to our fee schedule that was omitted from the first reading.
Great, so that's our only change?
Yep,
from
only
first reading,
change.
okay. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you for that. Now we'll move into hospitality tax fund.
I make a motion to amend ordinance 0-05-23 fiscal year 23 through 2024 local hospitality and local accommodation budget.
Okay, you've heard that motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Sherry. Any further discussion or any summary?
Yes, yep. We are adding $22,000 to the $22,000 to the hospitality budget to cover costs of developing a skate park plan. So that was the added part
Okay,
or additional.
so we don't need to do an amendment? It's just
Yeah,
okay?
it would be an amendment. So
Okay.
the motion on the floor is an amendment,
Yes.
and that was seconded. So y'all will be voting on the amendment on this round, and
Okay.
then you would have a vote on the ordinance as amended with another
Okay.
motion.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second from Brantley for the local hospitality tax fund and local accommodations tax fund with the amendment. Any further discussion?
Second from Sherry. Just
Oh,
a
I'm
minute.
sorry, thank you, Brantley. Okay,
Does
second from
that
Sherry.
include the swing set as
That's
well?
a good
Is that-
question. So I did go back and look at how much we needed to add the swing set, and we don't need to add any additional funding for that. We had sufficient funding in what we originally budgeted for the shade structures to cover the additional swing set. So no additional funding would be necessary to purchase the additional swing set.
And we probably had additional sponsors, and then we had a concrete donation too, so that probably helped that budget.
Did, yes.
I have a, I have a question about the skate park thing. Somebody refresh my memory. Is this just for the preliminary plans, is for the drawings and, you know, the site setup and everything? That's not for the actual part of the construction part of it?
No, it would not be for engineering, construction drawings. It would only be for community input, preliminary conceptual master planning, and to really kind of, you know, flush out the overall concept plan and to get that community input. And then once that's done, we would need to come back together and decide. And it would also begin to develop a fundraising strategy would be part of that as well. And then after those pieces would be done, we would have to come back together as a council and authorize construction and engineering funding.
So this basically is just, for lack of better words, just preliminary of the
Preliminary
Or like a
plan.
feasibility study a little
Okay.
bit, like, does it fit?
That's
And
a good
I'm assuming it's
Feasibility,
gonna,
that's a good,
yeah.
good point.
I'm assuming it's gonna
Feasibility
say maybe how much it costs too, so we'll have an idea, you know, if we had a big sponsor or something like that
We
too.
would definitely have a better cost estimate once we get through this first phase.
study. Thank you.
Great question, yeah. Okay. Anyone else? All right, approval for the budget with the amendment. All in favor? Motion carries. And then we'll go back and ask for a motion to adopt the local hospitality tax fund and local accommodation tax fund, just as is,
As amended.
as amendment. Okay? Do I hear a motion for that?
Motion as amended.
Dr. Chris?
Second.
Second by Kelly. Any further discussion? All in favor? For that. All right, now we have our Victims Advocate Fund.
Okay, I make a motion to consider ordinance 0-06-23 to adopt fiscal year 2023 through 2024 Victims Advocate budget.
Okay, you've heard that motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
You, Lisa? Okay, thank you. All right, Rick, do you have a summary or anything to note?
No, there's no additional. on
Okay,
that.
great. All right, any further discussion? Favor? Motion carries. All right, Tree Mitigation Fund.
Okay, I make a motion to consider ordinance 0-07-23 to adopt fiscal year 2023 through 2024 tree mitigation budget.
Okay, you've heard that motion. We have a second.
Second.
Okay, second by Shanice. Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, lastly, we have general obligation bond.
Okay, make a motion to consider ordinance 0-08-23 to adopt general obligations, GO bonds, Series A.
For that motion, we have a second.
Second.
Second by Brantley. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Motion carries. All right, the budget is done. Thank you, Rick. I appreciate that. All right, next we'll move into our committee reports, just for those that are in attendance. Just a reminder that we have our committee meetings the week before, and so this is a little bit of a summary of what we talked about last week. So we'll start with our Public Works Committee report from June. Chair Chris.
Thank you. The Public Works Committee met on June 5th and discussed May Public Works report. Director Tate noted the following items. The Public Works Department is putting the finishing touches on the Adventure Park Playground, noting that 2 Public Work employees will be certified as playground inspectors, which is great. And as mentioned earlier, we just had the ribbon cutting. It was beautiful. Also, Director Tate mentioned that the septic tank pump letter will be mailed out to 44 affected residents by the end of June. And then the recycling flyer was mailed out to all residents on June 9th. I have a comment about the flyer and a question. Is it best for me to do this under miscellaneous, or can I just ask now?
I don't know, I guess it's okay to ask now. Yeah.
Okay, so I signed up for recycling, and I realized, and other people realized as well, the day that we start recycling is also the day that the cans are collected, the recycling cans.
Okay.
So I guess the question is, are they gonna really be able to make sure they don't accidentally pick up my can? Or do we need to ask them to change the dates? And I know some people are wondering about that.
Let's email Beth just to make sure we have good communication. I mean, Eric, you might know, but I think
Yeah,
she's
there'll
kind of been in
be
it.
some more information coming out
Okay.
later this week. It will be most likely 2 separate dates. One date will be for when Greater Greenville picks up the cans for those that do not want to continue. And then the following week, which will most likely be the 17th of July, the new recycling will begin. So it'll be 2 weeks, and we'll communicate those dates once they're officially established. We've been going back and forth with Evergreen on the dates for their service. And so I think that we've settled on Tuesdays, which half the city would be one Tuesday, and then the alternate Tuesday would be the other half of the city. And it would be bi-weekly service. So we're anticipating that new recycling service begins the 17th of July for the first half of the city, with the other half of the city beginning on the 24th of July.
Okay, so then my question is, how would that be communicated? Because I don't know if we have to do another mailer, or the people who actually signed up for recycling, if they signed up with the company, maybe they can be emailed directly from the company to tell them the new dates. I just want to make sure that I can envision that we might have this big issue where people's cans are picked up when they thought they were starting recycling. So I know we'll do social media, but what are the other ways that we'll make sure?
Yes, so the service date will be provided by the company to the customer. So when they sign up, they'll be given a service date, and that service date will be communicated to that customer when they sign up for the service.
Right, and I signed up for the service, and they communicated the date that they're taking up the cans.
But not the date of service. No, they did not okay. So that'll
No,
be
they did
something-
both. I
Okay.
mean,
Yep, so we'll make sure that that is communicated effectively, the date of service, and also the date for you to roll your can to the road if you no longer want to recycle. And we can communicate that various means. We have email contacts for all the folks that have signed up for the service through Evergreen.
okay.
And those would probably be the most efficient way to communicate, would be through an email to that customer to make sure they understand when their service date is going to start.
Okay, so when people ask, we can just say they will be different dates, you will be communicated with. We'll put that on social media, and Evergreen will email people directly. And I think they should email more than once, just because there's a lot of confusion about dates now.
Okay, we will definitely make sure we get the word out
Good.
there. We also have the app that we can put it on the Connect TR app, and we'll be sure to put it out there in
I say we
multiple
just
ways.
say it so many times, we just get sick of hearing it, because because we're going to make mistakes in that. It'll be confusing for people for a while.
Outside of social media, how has the app been communicated to residents? Because I wouldn't have known about it unless I was on city council.
So we had an email distribution list that people had signed up for email newsletters. So when we did the newsletter, we had
Also signed up for it until.
yeah, a large distribution list. So that's been the primary means for getting that out there. As of today, we have, I think 1,250 people have signed up for the app. So hopefully that'll continue to grow, but I think most of those folks were notified through the email distribution that used to receive the email newsletter. The other way, I believe, has been through social media.
I'm signed up for the emails and
Oh, for the app? You didn't get a notification? Okay. Well, so I'll go back and we'll double check to make sure that maybe we do another blast and send that back out to everybody that we have an email for.
Or
And
just
and when we
check
send that blast out, also, whenever we have the updated recycling dates, if you could put that on that email too.
Definitely. We am
It,
happy
it
to.
might be helpful to maybe send that to Beth, since she's our communication person, just the things that you were kind of listing. I mean, I'm sure you'll do fine too, but.
Oh, sure.
just
I'll
we
get
don't
with
miss
her
it.
first thing in the
Yeah.
morning and we'll make sure that we can make sure that that goes out. We'll probably send it out a few more times between now and when the.
Once you have
actual
that
service
date.
starts.
Yes, that'll be great. Thank you.
Welcome.
Hey, that's the end of my report.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, Public Safety Committee Chair Byers.
Public Safety Committee met on June 5th and reviewed the May public safety reports. Chief Ford noted that the department was busy the weekend of June 3rd with several crimes, and Administrator Vinson noted the increase in building permit activity.
Thank you. Planning and Development Committee Chair Vest.
Planning and Development Committee met on June 5th and discussed the May Planning and Development Report. Director Foreman noted the following items. The Swamp Rabbit Trail numbers continue to increase, noting that we are 1/10 the size of the city of Greenville, and we have 50% of the riders on the trail. The U.S. Census Bureau released their 2020 data, and the Planning Commission Committee is meeting on June 29. So we anticipate that we'll see some activity around the comp plan. And lastly, if you see construction activity next to Starbucks, Director Foreman noted that Jersey Mike's is beginning site preparation.
And I want it noted that I had a resident call me and ask me to call Skins and see if they would come beside Jersey Mike's, and I did it. So, we'll see. It's not a rumor, I don't think they're coming, but I'm just saying, people are excited about Jersey Mike's and want to see what's coming next. All right, Ways and Means Committee, Chair Floyd, or Vice Chair.
The Ways and Means Committee met on June the 5th. We reviewed and approved May 15th minutes and discussed the fiscal year 2023 through 2024 operating budgets, capital improvement plan, rate fee schedule, the new tree mitigation budget, and the annual general obligations GO bond.
For that, Rick. Now we'll move into ordinances and ordinances and resolutions for first reading. We have our 2023 Master Lease Agreement Resolution. Rick, do you have that?
I would like to
Okay.
just address that real quick,
Okay.
Chairman Floyd. This is our master lease agreement we do every 2 years for the purchase of our vehicles. And so we do, and I apologize, there is an error on the agenda, that's my fault. This is an actual ordinance, not a resolution, so we will require 2 readings as opposed to a resolution, which would have required 1.
Okay.
But it is an ordinance to adopt, to provide for the issuance and the sale not exceeding $126,000 to the City of Travelers Rest. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong document, I apologize. Let me get to the right,
Oh, that's fine.
let me get to the right
You
document.
don't have anything written down, so we need to write down. Okay, gotcha. I don't think we talked about it last time.
Do we have the master?
Or I don't have it.
I'm sorry, I was reading from the.
Oh, no,
from the
Amanda
GO
gave it to
bond.
me. I have it. Do you want me to read it?
Okay, yeah, that
Okay.
would be great, thank you. I'm sorry, I was reading from the
Put it in my
wrong, I was
notes.
reading from the wrong one, yes.
Okay.
And-
Consider first reading of resolutions R0323, a master lease agreement in the principal amount of and not to exceed 535. I don't know why that's sticking in my head. hold on one second, $535,000 relating to the financing equipment for municipal purposes, authorizing the execution and delivery of various documents and other matters relating thereto. So do I hear a motion for that first reading of Resolution R0323?
Motion to read.
Okay, motion by Sherry. Do we have a second?
Second.
And then Eric, just because we're a little confused, just give us a little summary of.
Yes, I
yeah.
believe it actually, I'm sorry, I was reading from the ordinance, which was the bond ordinance, which we already adopted, so I apologize.
Got it.
That is a resolution for the master lease, so it would just be one reading this evening.
Okay.
And that is to finance our cars over a 5-year term. So we do a 5-year loan to do our capital purchases for our vehicles. And that is authorizing us to borrow that money, and we borrow that money. We got the loan through the Bank of Travelers Rest.
Right. Any further discussion or questions? All right, all in favor? Carries, thank you. I got numbers stuck in my head. I'm a CPA, I should be able to spit that out. Got stuck. All right, old business, we have none. New business, we have none. Miscellaneous matters, we have our administrative updates. Eric, you got anything for us?
No, we had a wonderful ribbon cutting prior to the meeting, and I want to thank the GTA Board, GreenLink Board members for being out here. We had, I think, 3 board members join us at the ribbon cutting as well. I do want to thank all of our staff, Beth and our Public Works staff, and everyone actually on the admin that pulled together to try to get the park looking nice. They did a wonderful job, on making everything come together for today. And just want to recognize them. And that was, I think, all that I wanted to say this evening. Thank you.
Great, great. I just had a note that we have Juneteenth off on Monday, and Beth put together some really great, in the gazebo, has the QR code and tells a little bit of story about the purpose behind Juneteenth, so that'd be kind of exciting to have. All right, I think we were going to originally go into executive session, but we're still going to hold on that?
We're going to hold till
next
committee
month?
meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, committee
Do we need a
meeting in July.
motion to put this on the agenda for next? Okay. So for executive session for discuss the administrator annual review, we're going to have a motion to put that on July's agenda. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Wait a minute. Point, when do you suggest to have it? A committee meeting?
Committee
or-
meeting.
Committee meeting?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Thank
great,
you.
good.
Good suggestion, thanks.
Oh, you're here earlier, and
Yep.
you stay later. You know, this is
Okay,
a late,
so-
and that can get a little bit
Okay.
long, so.
If you're not going to be here, just send us the information beforehand, and we can include that in there. Like Grant wasn't going to be here tonight, and he gave us information beforehand. All right, does anybody have anything else for the good of council?
We need to.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, so do we have a second? So Kelly gave the motion.
Yeah.
Rick, have a second? Any further discussion? All right, all in favor? Thank you for keeping me straight. That passes. Okay, anybody have anything else for the good of council? Motion to adjourn.
Motion to
Motion.
adjourn.
Second? Second. All in favor? Thank you very much.
Grant.
Okay, do you
Brantley.
have a minute?
Brantley and then I think Sherry. Brantley and then Sherry.
Put her first, and then Kelly was second on the agenda.
Yeah, I- I'm sorry.
Get it, Amanda.